all the passion burning in my heart.
All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. And today we're going to be continuing our series of mixing with UAD Spark plugins. There's some things that I'm loving about these plugins. For instance, the 1176 and the LA2A sound pretty great. Those compressors are decent emulations. However, with the Neve plugins so far, we're lacking a bit of the saturation I feel that you get from a real Neve. That said, the Neve plugin from UAD is one of the better Neve plugins I've heard, so it is very nice. And the first thing I noticed when I was jumping back into this session is I wasn't watching my master metering here, and things had started to creep down towards about minus 10 dB, and that's not ideal. So I'm gonna just come in and bump up faders again just a little bit.
Warm you in my arms and melt your fears away. Short today, nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine. Yeah.
Cool, to me that's sounding pretty well balanced. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just clean up this hi-hat here.
And boy, I'll give you all I got.
And as I start putting EQs on these channels, I'm mostly just going to be using filters and trying to get rid of some low frequency stuff and just clean up the drum sound and make space for everything in the mix. So we can get rid of quite a lot of stuff there. And I'll just add some tops.
All the passion burning in my heart today. Nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine.
Cool. And then we're getting a lot of spill from this floor tom, and I'm not gonna actually get rid of this. They don't hit this floor tom really at all, except for the slight intro fill into the song. So I'm literally gonna leave it as kind of like a spill mic, and it'll act like kind of like just some room fill and some overhead stuff there. So let's do that. It's just going to add a little bit of spill and stuff in there in a nice way. We'll just turn that down a bit.
And boy, I'll give you all I got to give.
And already our hi-hats are becoming more focused because there was a lot of hi-hat spill coming across the drum kit into that floor mic. So now we're really hearing the hi-hats where they're supposed to be on the right-hand side there.
And I need to hold you, share my feelings in.
There's a very wide image of the drum kit here in the overheads. Try and tighten up that kick sound a bit.
Today, nothing's gonna fade, so baby.
That's actually adding a lot to our snare there, so I'm going to try and leave that in if I can. I'm going to go back to my snare and just pull it down a little bit. It's starting to get too loud in the mix.
And boy, I'll give you all I got to give. And I need to hold you, share my feelings in the.
And now because of that really wide snare sound that they've got, well, a really wide overhead close mic sound that they've got there, we're getting much wider an image of the snare. So that's kind of cool. Let's have a listen to that soloed. So there's the snare on its own. I'm going to add the close mics, close overheads. Off. We're also getting a lot of stereo kick. I'm going to try and take some of that out. See what it sounds like. No, that's too aggressive. Cool.
And I need to hold you, my
kick drum.
feelings in the heat.
And the kick drum there is creeping up a little bit as well. So I might pull that down in the mix a little bit.
Heat of love's embrace. Show you all the passion burning in my heart.
Cool. I'm going to do the same here with our far overheads. And if you're wondering why I'm just adding Neve preamps to everything, we spoke about this in the last lot of videos. It's basically just because I really like this filter, a high pass filter, I should say. This high pass filter sounds pretty great. And I can just drive this and get a bit of saturation going. And although it doesn't sound exactly like a Neve saturator here, like the Neve saturation I'm used to, it does do something.
Share my feelings in the heat of love's embrace.
Now with this one, I'm not sure whether I want more highs. We've got quite a lot of crisp cymbals. So I'm going to see if I want highs or whether I'll roll them off this shelf a little bit.
My heart today, nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine. Yeah. I need to hold you.
Cool. For now, I'm going to keep that as a slight shelf gentle roll off.
Share my feelings in the heat of love's embrace. Show
And we can see we've actually flattened out some of the high frequencies in that response over here.
you
Which is nice.
all the passion burning in my
bypass
heart
it.
today. Nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine. Yeah.
All this 10K and above, we can actually tame a little bit.
And boy, I'll give you all I got to give. And I need to hold you.
And the cymbals sound a bit softer there now. I like that. It's pretty cool. And then, last but not least, the rooms. Let's try and tighten up that low frequency a bit. Not get rid of too much of it. And we'll probably tame some of that out.
All the passion burning in my heart today. Nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine. Yeah.
Cool, that sounds pretty great, actually getting driven a bit more there.
Nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine. Yeah. And boy, I'll give you all I got to give.
If we have a listen to that, that's pretty great. We've got if we solo just the drum bass here, you can hear just the stuff we only just did, the hats, the floor, the overheads, and that's the drum sound of just those without the kick and snare reinforcement in that. Have a listen to how good that sounds with just the Neve EQs on there now. Cool, and I've just balanced my drums there, and they're really starting to come together. Let's just solo them up and have a listen again. See if we can't get some more of that tubbiness out. About 100, there we go.
In the heat of love's embrace. Show you all the passion burning in my heart today. Nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine. Yeah.
Work on this compressor.
Share my feelings in the heat of love's embrace. Show you all the passion burning
There we go.
heart today. Nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine. And boy, I'll give you up.
And once we add some things like reverb and stuff to that, I think we're going to be in the ballpark. Starting to sound a lot better there. Yeah. So the last thing I'm going to do to finish off this drum sound is get some compression on our drum bus. And what UAD have included is one of the best drum compressors money can buy if you were buying the real hardware. It's this 2500 API bus compressor, very famous for being used on not just drum buses, but also master buses. Great compressor. It has that real punchiness that you'd expect from API stuff. It has this threshold knee control, which can really shape the tone, as well as obviously this thrust circuit here. So it says detector thrust. You can really add some punch there. And yeah, there's like a lot of options to shape your sound and the attack and stuff from this compressor. So let's have a listen what this sounds like on our drum bus.
I don't need a reason to change your mind that I desire, and I need to hold you, share my feelings in the heat of love's embrace, show you all the passion burning in my heart today. Nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine. And boy, I'll give you all.
And what's crazy here is as I'm going through the knee, when I have it on hard, you can really hear the attack and aggression of the kick drum there. Have a listen. And then as we get to soft, it just makes it sound a bit softer, which might be the sound I'm actually going for, but have a listen anyway.
All I got to give. And I need to hold you, share my feelings in the heat of love's embrace.
All of a sudden, when you click from soft to hard, the kick drum gets real aggressive and you get way more of the attack from the kick drum there. So I might put it on soft because that's not really, I'm not going for a metal sound here. I'm going for some kind of R&B kind of sound here. So let's go with that.
Show you all the passion burning in my heart today. Nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine. And boy, I'll give you all I got to give.
Actually, I take it back. I like the medium because when it's on medium, there's a balance between the kick and the snare sounds way nicer on the medium threshold there. Cool. And what I'm going to do, just have a listen. I'm going to bypass the original sound.
All the passion burning in.
So right now it's bypassed, and then when I click this button, it'll be off, and the compressor will be on, and we'll hear the full signal.
My heart today. Nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine. And boy, I'll give you all I got to give. And I need to hold you, share my feelings in the.
So as soon as the compressor's on, you're really hearing the snare and the kick drum come to life, and you get a bit more width and all that sort of stuff. The other thing we can do is we can crank this a bit more and get more aggressive with it.
The heat of love's embrace. Show you all the passion
And then utilize this mix style.
burning in my heart today. Nothing's gonna fade, so baby be mine. And boy, I'll give you all I.
And I think what we've ended up there with is a really interesting drum sound. Let's just solo that up.
All the passion burning in my heart.
And I'll leave the drums there for now. I think they're sounding interesting. I haven't played it too safe with those. I like to try and get creative with my drum sounds. So sometimes I find things sounding too clean gets too boring. So I don't know, it's sounding pretty interesting in the mix as it is. And as we start to sculpt some of the rest of the instruments here, we're really going to hear the drums come even further alive because there'll be more space for what's going on there, because there's probably a lot of spill coming from some of these other instruments. And yeah, we'll see how we go.